everybody.
How's it going, man?
Great, how are you?
Great. Oh, that's hot.
Yeah, it was a Fast and the Furious, but our designer gave me a shield sticker.
Definitely. That's sweet, man. Oh.
All right. You guys having fun?
Yeah.
When did this thing start? Yesterday?
Yep. Yesterday. Feels like longer. So how is it to jump into a show that's, 3 seasons deep into its writing and joining into the cast?
It was more seamless than I anticipated it being. But fortunately, they kind of came full circle on a lot of the storyline, and it was an interesting place to jump in because all the agents are kind of scattered to the wind and everybody's dealing with something. And Daisy's gone rogue, and obviously Clark Phil's been not necessarily demoted, but he's made a lateral move within the organization. And and then you add a character who's magical and mystical and dangerous, and adds this kind of really sweet kind of horror element to the first episode, and we carry that through. But I just, if they hadn't been so loving and they hadn't all been such great dedicated performers to this show, then it may have been more difficult, but it really wasn't. It's just since day one, since the first read, they each and every one of them came up to me and welcomed me with open arms. So, it's a real family atmosphere.
Did you read a lot about the new incarnation of Ghost Rider before you took the role? Or?
I had just come off a show called Harley and the Davidsons, where I was riding these motorcycles from 100 years ago. So we did the first 30 years of the origin of the machine and the company itself. And I had been getting calls from my agent saying that they had a recurring part on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And while I loved the show and I love everything Marvel, I didn't want to be taken off the table for anything that could possibly come along. I wasn't aware that the Ghost Rider is a Mexican-American kid from East LA who becomes this legend, and so I wasn't aware of that. But it's so funny, man. It's just like everyone's always, what you should do, Gabe? You should be in a Marvel movie or TV show. It's like, oh yeah, well, some things gotta happen. But, things happen. I was in Marfa, Texas at a film festival, and I got the call. They're like, so that part they keep calling you about that you keep saying it's the Ghost Rider. And I was like, what? I was like, awesome. They're going another route with Johnny Blaze. I dig that. And then they're like, no, it's just look it up. And I looked it up, and it was Robbie Reyes.
Yeah.
And there was all of these synchronicities with the character. I had come off a show with Robert Rodriguez, and the initials are the same. And Robert used to drive around this Dodge Challenger when we were doing a show called Matador, and the Challenger obviously is the updated version of the Charger. And he has a little brother whose name is Gabriel, and I have a little brother who I love dearly. And everything just kind of lined up, and I was like, this character's incredible. I can't believe this is real. It's like I always thought, I don't think there's not really a part in the Marvel universe for me, but thankfully they created one, and it's the reality of our world. It's starting to be shown in the films and the television shows. So, I was just the right guy at the right time.
In the episode 4 description, Eli Morrow is listed as a guest star.
Right.
What can you tell us about him?
What can I tell you about Eli? He is Robbie's uncle. And full stop.
You just said that your character adds an element of horror, but we know he has a soft spot for his little brother and stuff. Are we going to see that come out anymore? Anytime soon?
Of course. Well, that's what saves Robbie from completely being swallowed up by the darkness. In a lot of our incarnations of the character, they black out. They're like early on, Johnny Blaze in the early books would just completely black out, especially like the Hulk. He just do these horrible, he commit these atrocities.
Don't believe the shit he's telling you.
And so there was always this separation, and then there was always the wrestling with the Ghost Rider that you deal with. But in Robbie's case, his love for his brother, especially in the books, if you've read the all new Ghost Rider, especially towards the end, it's his love for his brother that actually makes the connection and pulls him away from the demon. You know? And I think that's what's great about it. And what makes the character good in the first place is you see what he has to lose. And it's like my wife. She loves boxing, but she doesn't care about boxing or the pugilists themselves until she watches, for instance, like 24/7, meets their families, knows who their girlfriends, wives, whatever. She sees the stakes. You know? So the fact that you see Gabe, you see what he has to lose, you know the stakes, and you root for Robbie.
How does Robbie feel about Daisy at this point? Is he like starting to like get the idea that she's a good guy?
I mean, I think, well, first of all, he just, you know, if anyone comes across the Ghost Rider, it's probably because they're a baddie, and then they don't come away from that encounter usually. Daisy, in Daisy's case, she's following me, and I can't let it slide. I can't let somebody know my secret. So everything in me wants, you know, the demon in me wants to take her out. You have to have good reason to do it. She must have spilled innocent blood. So there must be a requirement for vengeance, and there isn't. In the first episode, I kneel down and I look in her eyes and I don't see it. She's begging to die, but I can tell that there's something within her that's she's a penitent woman at that point. She's just asking forgiveness because she's got bad luck with boys. And so, you know, I think early on it's just self-preservation, and then as we keep encountering each other, we realize that it's not each other that we're after, it's this other thing. So in the end, we saddle up, we kind of ride out together at the end of the second episode, and that's where we've left it. And you'll see how that works and that develops as we push forward.
Your character has such a complicated philosophy.
Right.
What parts of it do you connect with or gravitate towards, or have maybe an issue with trying to play it on the screen?
You know, immediately when you tell yourself, okay, I got to play the Ghost Rider. I mean, taking lives is part of that story, and that's not something that should be taken lightly. Even if you're playing, you play pretend and you're pretending to be a superhero. It's a part of the character that I felt that I had to really be conscious of at all times, and find that code and find that line of how does he approach that, and if you could reiterate your question for me, that'd be helpful, because I had another thing I was going to say.
With his philosophy, things that you maybe find difficult to play or difficult to kind of reason out, or things that you really maybe not admire because he is murdering, but things that you kind of gravitate towards, or...
I just think that I dig this. It's something that was thrust upon him. So it's not something like he didn't etch that code into his thing. It's now just a bargain. It's his deal that he made, and his compromise. There are things that I submit in terms of my own humanity, but then there's the threat, like love for Gabe, that actually keeps it, maintains it, and actually gives Robbie this great power over the monster, which is my little brother. He's amazing. He's he has an encyclopedic knowledge of this stuff, and he found out I got it. And he calls me and he's just crying. He's like, "Oh my God, it's crazy." And he's like, "What?" And then he just writes me this text that goes forever. I'm just scrolling up. It's just forever. I mean, it'd probably be that long. And it's about the writer and about what it is, and is it in terms of it being a curse, in terms of it being this empowering, this blessing, whatever it is. But the way he put it was, it's his shadow. It's gonna always be there. You can't shake your shadow. It's gonna be there. You just have to accept it as part of you. So these things that Robbie does, he as a man feels the guilt, I think. But you do a deal with the devil. You take what comes. So,
Thank you all so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure, bro.
Yeah.
Good luck with the part, man. You're
Thank you. I
awesome.
appreciate it.
That's a
Thank you very
bad ring
much.
too. I like that.
They just gave it.
Are you set on the car? You might ride a motorcycle on the show. I don't know.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, what-
I thought that after I did that Honey show that I put me in my
Right?
skills to
Yeah. Thank
This is
you.
much cooler.
Charger is cool.